Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing a tutorial on this cute little ghost bracelet. So I thought that this would be fun to do because it is nearing that time of the year where it's getting to the holidays and it's all fun. So I just thought that this would be a fun bracelet to do. This is the pattern. If you do not know how to read patterns and you would like to learn, I might do a tutorial on it. I don't know, but I know that many other people have tutorials on how to read patterns, normal patterns. So you can figure that out, or you can just watch this tutorial. Yeah, I'm going to do a tutorial on this, so let's begin. So you will need two colors for this bracelet, black and white, and to cut your strings, you will have to cut 2 full strings of white in your wingspan's length, and then 1 string of white in a half wingspan's length to get 5 strings, So that's how many white strings you will need. And then for the black, you will have to cut 3 full strings of your wingspan's length. So, again, for the white strings, you have to cut 2 full strings of your wingspan's length, and then cut 1 string half a wingspan's length. I just wanted to go a bit more in depth on this, and for the 2 full strings of wingspan's length, you will fold those in half and then attach the half a wingspan's length one to those 2 full ones, and then for the 3 wingspan's length for the black, you will fold those in half as well, and that's what you do for the strings. And then for the black, cut 3 full strings of a wingspan's length. Hopefully that makes sense. If it does not, I'm extremely sorry. That's the best I can explain. That will leave you with 11 strings, which is an uneven amount of strings, but don't worry, it doesn't really matter. So you can start this bracelet however you want. You could just start it straight across. You could start it with triangle ends, which was what I did. You could do a loop, whatever you want. But I cut my triangle ends, if you are wondering. I started right here and just cut it. So that's how I went. I went on the left-hand side, I went white, black, white, black, white, black. Then on the right-hand side, black, white, black, white, black. So that's how I cut them, and that's really how you cut your strings. So let's begin. So when you start your bracelet, your strings need to be in this order: black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, which I popped up a picture on the screen, so it'll be easier. To do the very first row here, it is all forward backward knots, but since this is a 1-2 pattern, you need to take out the string. And on the first row, we take out the right hand side of string. Like, you take that string out and don't use it. Don't tie a knot onto it at all. And if you don't, this is more of an advanced bracelet, so if you don't really know how to do these types of knots, I would go check out my chevron tutorial and the basic knots tutorial. So yeah, but you're going to take your first 2 strings and tie a forward backward knot with the black string. And there you have it. You did your first knot. Good job. Okay, so put those 2 strings aside and take the very next 2 strings, which is another black and white. Guess what knot you're going to do? A forward backward knot with the black string onto the white string. And you will set those 2 strings aside. Now you would take your next 2 strings. Guess what knot you're doing? A forward backward knot. Now set those 2 strings aside. Take the next 2 strings and do a forward backward knot. And then you'll take the next 2 strings and do a forward backward knot as well. So here I'm taking the next 2 strings, just gonna do forward, backward. Now you can like kind of push your knots up, make sure they're all even, and just make sure everything is going as planned. So now, since you left that right hand string out the last time, you'll bring it back in, and you will take the left hand string on the very edge out. We don't want that. We don't use it in this row. So on the second row, we will take the first 2 strings right here and do a backward forward knot with the black string. And we can put those to the side. We will take the next 2 strings in our string clump and do a backward forward knot with the black onto the white. So you shouldn't have any white knots yet. Put those strings aside, take the next 2 strings, and you will do a backward forward knot. Now put those 2 strings aside and take the next 2, backward forward knot. Then take the next 2 strings and do a backward forward knot. Okay, so we have finished our second row. Woo! Okay, now on to the next. Since we left the left hand string out last row, we'll take the right hand string and put it to the side. We won't be using this string right now. For our next row, it's going to be all black knots. So take your first 2 strings and do a forward backward knot. Put those 2 strings to the side. Take your next 2 strings, do a forward backward knot. Now you will take your next 2 strings and do a forward backward knot. Put those strings aside, take your next 2, do a forward backward knot, and then after these 2 strings, you will do a forward backward knot. So forward backward knot here. And you can go ahead and just push those knots up, make sure they're doing great and fantastic. Okay, we have finished our third row in our pattern. And because we left out the right hand string this time, we will take out the furthest string to the left. And this row, we are starting the ghost. So, yay! We will take these first 2 strings, and on this one, we're going to do a forward backward knot with the white onto the black. But there is the first knot. You will take those 2 strings and put them to the side. Now take your next 2 strings, and you will do a forward backward knot with the white onto the black. There you go. Now you will put those 2 strings to the side and take the next 2 strings. And you will do a forward backward knot with the white onto the black. So there you go. You've done the forward backward knot. Now put those 2 strings to the side, take your next strings, next 2, do a forward backward knot. So you should have 4 white knots. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now put those 2 strings to the side, take your next 2 strings and do a backward forward knot with the black onto the white. This is important. Backward forward with the black string, not the white string. And there you go. You have the first row of the ghost and your 4th row of your pattern done. So let's go on to the next row. Since we left out the left hand string last time and we used the right hand string, we'll take out the right hand string, put that to the side. And we will take our next white, our first two white and black strings, and we will do a backward forward knot with the white onto the black. So backward, forward. We'll put those two strings to the side and take the next two strings and do a backward forward knot with the white onto the black. Now we will take the next two strings, put those ones to the side, and do a backward forward knot with the white onto the black. You can kind of just like push up your knots a little, check out how they're going and stuff. You'll take your next two strings and do a backward forward knot with the white onto the black. White. Now you take your next two strings and do a backward forward knot with the white onto the black. And that is your 5th row completed. So there you go. Now you didn't use the right hand string last time, but you did the left. So you take out the left hand string and we will do our 6th row. So take your very first two strings and do a forward backward knot with the white onto the black. Now we will do another forward backward knot with the white onto the black. And then take your next two strings, forward, backward. Now it changes here. So take your next two strings. You will do a backward forward knot with the black onto the white. This, you're making the eyes, the eyeball. Now you will take the last two strings and do a forward backward knot with the white onto the black. There you go. You have your 6th row completed. Yay! And you kind of know by now, since we didn't use our left hand string last time and used our right hand string, we're going to put the right hand string to the side. And for our 7th row, we will start by doing a backward forward knot with the white onto the black. And then we will take our next two strings and do a backward forward knot with the white onto the black again. Gotta move that. Okay, sorry, my mom came in. So we will take our next two strings and do a forward backward knot with the black onto the white. This is going to be the mouth. So, and kind of make sure that this one's pushed up correctly because it does kind of go a little wonky. And now you will take your next two strings and do a backward forward knot. Then take your next two strings and do a backward forward knot. So you should have one eyeball in the mouth on the 7th row. So since we used the left hand string last row, we're going to take that one out. And to start the 8th row, we will do a forward backward knot. And now you will put those two strings to the side and you will take your next two strings and do a forward backward knot. Now we'll put those two strings to the side and take our next two and we will do a forward backward knot. Now you can use the black string and we are making the second eye. So we will do a backward forward knot with the black onto the white. And now next row we will do a forward backward knot with the white onto the black. So and that is your 8th row. So push your knots up, make sure they're doing okay. And since we left out the left hand string last time, we will use that and put the right hand string to the side. Now, for our 9th row, we will do all backward forward knots, but I will kind of walk you through it. So, but it's all with white, so backward forward, then put those 2 strings to the side, take your next 2, and it's a backward forward. And these are all with white. Just make sure you're using the white string, because I know it'll be very upsetting if you use the black string and then have to untie all of those knots. I hate untying knots. Take your next 2 strings, do a backward forward knot. And now you'll take your next 2 and do a backward forward knot. And then take your very last 2 strings and do a backward forward knot. Oh gosh, I messed it up. I didn't mess up the bracelet, don't worry. Backward, forward. Okay. Now push up your strings and we are almost finished. So take your left hand string out, because we used that in the last row, and we will do forward backward knots with the white, but not on every single one, so just wait. Forward backward knot on the first 2 strings with the white. Then you will take, oopsie, sorry, your next 2 strings, and you will do a forward backward knot. Now put those 2 strings to the side, take the next 2 and do a forward backward knot. And now this is where it changes. Take your last 2 strings and do a backward forward knot. And there you go. You have done the 10th row of your bracelet. Woohoo! 2 more left. So leave out your right hand string. We aren't using that this time. And take your first 2 strings. And instead of doing white knots, we will be doing black knots. So a forward, backward knot right here. Now take your next 2 strings, which should be a black and a white. They should always be a black and a white. Do a forward, backward knot. Be a little bit careful in this row because you are kind of switching up what type of knot you are doing with a different string, so it might get a little wonky, but don't worry, it will even itself out. Take your next 2 and do a forward, backward knot. Then take your next 2 strings and you will do a forward, backward knot. And now take your last 2 and do a forward backward knot. And this row especially, you should take your strings and kind of look at them, push the knots up to make sure they're just all going in the right places, because this row can get wonky. So now you want to leave out your left hand string, and you will be doing backward forward knots with the black strings. So backward forward, And then take your next 2 strings. Oh my, I'm hungry. I'm editing and just now realized how much that sounded like a fart. That was not a fart. That was my stomach growling. I was in fact hungry and I ate lunch right after this video. Backward, forward. Take your next 2. Backward, forward. Then take your next 2 and do a backward, forward. And that white really wants to be in the video. Take your next 2, backward, forward. And that is the bracelet. You just will repeat that however many times you want until it's to your desired length. So, just if you need to watch the video again, watch the video again. It does get like a little wonky, but it is all backward, forward, and forward, backward knots, so it's expected to be like that. It's not going to be perfect. Never will be. And I will see you whenever the bracelet is finished. So, okay, so I have finished the ghost bracelet, and I like how it turned out. It's really cute. Oh, what is she doing? It's really cute, and I hope that this tutorial was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.